Hey everyone, welcome to Cinema Safari. Today we're talking about Disclosure Day. Disclosure Day was directed and produced by Steven Spielberg from a screenplay by David Koepp and composed by the legendary John Williams. So the film stars Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell, and among others. Um, Big film, uh, big sci-fi for Steven Spielberg. A lot of what he's known for. So I'm excited to get right into it with Disclosure Day. So in Disclosure Day, it was directed by Steven Spielberg, produced by Steven Spielberg, a screenplay by David Koepp, who I believe they've collaborated several other times in the past. The legendary John Williams composing the film after many films with Steven Spielberg throughout both of their long and storied careers. So in the film, we have Emily Blunt as Margaret Fairchild, a TV meteorologist and former journalist. Josh O'Connor as Daniel Kellner, cybersecurity expert and whistleblower. Colin Firth as Noah Scanlon, the head of the Wardex Corporation. Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell, who is Margaret's boyfriend. Um, among others rounding out the very strong cast. So in the film, big sci-fi film. A big part of the film is surrounding like a conspiracy theory type thing, leaning towards that about extraterrestrial life on Earth. The world is on the brink of potentially a World War III. So there's a lot going on in the film, a lot of tense stuff as well. Yeah, but going into it, for the most part, I liked it. I did have, I wouldn't really call it a problem, but I feel like get into it a little later, a little more with the ending. That was a little weak, but we'll get into that a little more later. But overall, I really enjoyed the film. Very, a lot of it felt similar in ways to some of Spielberg's other works, such as like Close Encounters, E.T., stuff like that. So definitely had some connections to those films in the sense of how it felt to watch, which was nice. Some of his older works and classics. And I think it was good to see like Spielberg kind of leaning back into like some of his classic films in certain aspects. It definitely felt like that, and it was nice to see compared to some of his more recent films that he's been a part of. Um, didn't necessarily so like some of his recent work hasn't necessarily felt like the Steven Spielberg we necessarily know and love from like some of his like really like top notch work that he's done in the past. But this definitely, I think, definitely has more of a feeling of some of those bigger works that he's more well known for and are more popular in culture. So Emily Blunt, um, the whole cast was great. Great performances, very strong cast. But Emily Blunt, a lot of people are saying this may be the best performance of her career. She did amazing, very good. Um, Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I feel like I can't really think of anything that might outrank this, honestly. Trying to think. I mean, she's had a lot of great performances, like great career for Emily Blunt. But yeah, feel like this is definitely one, at least definitely one of, if not her strongest performance. So I wouldn't be surprised if she gets an Oscar or at least a nomination for this um, movie. Definitely a great job by her. Um, so relating to some of Spielberg's other works, it does have some similarities in the feel to, like, Close Encounters, ET. Um, he's getting back to like his some of his favorite topics of like aliens, extraterrestrials. Um, it differs from those in the sense that this film, Disclosure Day, leans more towards like the conspiracy aspect of extraterrestrials on Earth living among us for so many years, covered ups by the government, stuff like that. Whereas like ET, really dug into the personal relationships, like between ET and Elliot in the film, and like how that developed, and like that was the center of the film. Um, this film definitely leaned more towards that conspiracy aspect, um, which was very interesting to watch. Especially for being a Spielberg film, to see like kind of like the opposite of what we expect to necessarily see, or what we're used to, I guess, from like alien related Spielberg films that we've seen in the past. So that part of it was interesting to me. Yeah, but I liked the film. I thought it was really good. Now the ending, I didn't really have a problem with the ending. I thought it was kind of weak for it being a Spielberg film, and how the rest of the movie was. I was kind of expecting more. So I guess I was a little let down, I guess, by the ending. But it didn't really, negatively affect the movie for me. I still enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. It wasn't his. I don't think it was necessarily his best work, but it definitely wasn't. It was definitely like higher on the list than some of his other films, I would say. But like if you're comparing it to like E.T., Close Encounters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's not that Jaws. It's not that high, but it definitely is higher on the list than some of his films, I would say. Um, I mean, he's done so many great films, so it's a big list of like amazing stuff he's done. But yeah, it definitely does rank high on the list. Not at the top. That definitely doesn't reach as high as some of those classic films, but it was a very solid film, I think. So for sci-fi fans, it'll definitely satisfy, I think. The visuals, I thought it looked really good. The story, for the most part, I enjoyed. Nothing too complex, I don't think. But yeah, it was fun to watch. It looked good, and yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. So with that, we are going to wrap up today's episode. So, Disclosure Day, definitely recommend, especially for you sci-fi fans out there. Definitely worth a watch. Emily Blunt, amazing. So definitely for her, definitely watch it. Yeah. So next episode, we're going to be talking about Toy Story 5. Jumping into the world of Toy Story with Pixar and their latest installment in the Toy Story franchise. It was funny. I was looking through some Toy Story memes the other day, and there was one. It was like the Jimmy Neutron characters. I forget his name, but like one Jimmy's friend and like I guess a teacher, and they're like Pixar saying, "Yeah, we're this is the finale of the film when they did like Toy Story 3, and then they're at Toy Story 5 now, and then the teacher's like, you've been saying that for like 3 films." which I thought it was funny. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about Toy Story 5. Excited for that. Excited to watch that. I do love the Toy Story films. And we'll rank them and see which ones are your favorites as well. So join us next episode for Toy Story 5 and talking about Toy Story altogether, the rest of the franchise. And yeah, excited for that. So thank you for watching. We will see you next time.